Well, good morning and welcome to the Garden Show. I'm Joanne York with the Benton County Master Gardeners, and this is my guest Terry Weiderhaft, who is also a Master Gardener. Today we'll be talking about the Helping Hands Pantry Garden. The subject today is Meet Us in the Garden, and we'll be discussing that garden and upcoming events with you happening in July regarding watering and weeding and dealing with the heat. First, thanks to our sponsors, the Benton County Master Gardeners and the Bella Vista Garden Club. Both have agreed to continue supporting the show. There's lots of gardening activities going on in July. Both Crystal Bridges and Peel Mansion and Compton Gardens were hit with tornado damage. So there's lots of cleanup going on with that. Some local places to check out might be the Botanical Garden of the Ozarks in Fayetteville, and also the Blue Spring Historic Site in Eureka Springs. That is a hidden treasure. Make sure you check that out. More information about those places can be found on their websites. So we'll be talking about the Helping Hands Garden today with Terry, my buddy here. Okay, so Terry, let's talk a little bit about how the Helping Hands Garden got started.
So the garden itself actually got started a couple years before Master Gardeners got involved. And Michelle Stamps was actually a volunteer in the food pantry. They have a food pantry. And she got tasked at one point with seeing if they couldn't grow some vegetables. They've got like a 5-acre lot right next to the store there. So she had gotten a grant and had some beds built. And they had some infrastructure in place, and they had tried for a couple years to grow some vegetables, but they were struggling to get enough labor to get it going.
So how did we get involved?
And so then in 2016, C.W. Doss was the vice president of Master Gardeners that year, and one of his things he took on was trying to find another project for the Master Gardeners. And I think he was specifically looking for vegetable garden type stuff. We were pretty heavily ornamental at that point in time, so he was looking to get us into some other areas. And one of the places he investigated was the Helping Hands Garden. And that's where we ended up. And so we started in 2016.
How many beds were there then?
So there were 20 raised beds that had been built. Probably, I don't remember exactly, less than half of them actually had soil in them.
Okay.
Because they'd been struggling for a couple years just to keep 6 or 7 beds going. So we came in 2016, had some work days, brought in a lot of soil. So that first year there were 20 total beds. My recollection is Master Gardeners, we did 14 of them.
Okay.
And the other 6, Michelle's main other source of labor was actually her church. The Seventh-day Adventist Church was still involved, and they still are today.
Right.
We did 14 beds. I actually had one of them. There were 14 of us that adopted a bed. I had one of them. And we did a little over 1,000 pounds that year. And we're very proud of ourselves on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after CW took on the presidency, he kind of turned the reins over to you to continue with the garden, right?
Yeah. That was his story, because the first year he basically ran it.
You're right.
And then it comes that fall, and he's like, well, I'm going to be president next year. I can't do it. We need somebody to run it. And talked to me a couple of times, and I kept coming up with other names. They were persistent, so I did, starting in 2017, I took over the team lead and haven't found a successor yet.
We're working on that.
We're working
right. So after the garden got started, a couple years or a year later, we got the Blue Barn.
Yeah, I think we did. I think the first year, so 2016, when we did it, we had nothing. We were actually out. We had a hydrant, so we were actually out. We had a watering schedule. People had to take their turns pulling the hose around
Right.
the 20 beds.
And we had 2 metal sheds
Two metal
that no longer exist.
One of them got blown literally a quarter mile away. I think that was 2017. They're gone. So 2017, our first thing we actually did was we put in drip irrigation.
Oh, okay.
Because the watering was a chore and a hassle, and we didn't do a great job of being as diligent about it as we could. So 2018, I think, was the blue barn. We kind of did one big project a year for 4 or 5 years.
Okay. What do we use the blue barn for?
So the concept when we initially got it was mainly to do tool storage, keep our stuff in there. It's actually kind of become a little bit more than that. We keep scales in there. We weigh everything as we harvest it. It's kind of our little harvesting area where we bag up the produce that we get. We weigh it. We record it. And we've got a table in there. We do a lot of our meetings. I say meeting stuff, small meeting stuff in there. And again, we still have our tools and things in there, but like any shed, like your shed at home,
Yeah.
it's packed with more stuff than
Correct.
you know where it came from.
Correct. Yeah, we've got some slides we're looking at. There's a picture of CW and you,
Yep.
just taken recently.
Yeah, that's just this year.
Right, and with the blue barn in the
blue barn.
background, and
Yep.
we had a sign carved that says the CW DOS Blue Barn over the top of the door. You can't see it from there. And this is a slide of Michelle. She was kind of one of the founding members with her group of homeschool kids that she works with a couple times a week, doing different things.
And they have their own beds out in the garden. They have their own section.
Their own section up front. Yeah, usually sunflowers and pretty things are growing. And this year, we were so blessed to be able to build a hoop house. We did lots of research, lots of learning, and so this is a picture of it, maybe halfway through. It was definitely a learning experience, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not, if we were to do it again, I'm not sure we wouldn't find somebody else to help us build it, but we got through it.
Yeah, we get through it. And having the hoop house allows us to work in the winter. And our members in this picture are winter sowing in milk jugs. So we tried that with some success this year. We did that. And also seed starting, and when seeds start little, then we have to put them in a bigger pot. Then we have to put them in a bigger pot, and then they finally go outside. So this is what our members are doing there in that picture. Then we're always learning something new. We have members that grow things in the winter with small hoops. I think they call them row covers, and they put like a sheet over the top, which protects them from the cold and the bugs. So we're able to grow things all year now, pretty much. Yeah. Okay. And the next one, we have a pollinator garden. Well, actually, we have a few of them at Helping Hands. That's a monarch caterpillar. I'm not sure that's milkweed, but that is a monarch. And here's a picture of our pollinator garden. If you go out there in the spring, there's things blooming when nothing else is blooming. So it's kind of pretty to be out there.
We actually have, I think I'd call it at least 4 different sections where we do the ornamentals and that. So our focus is the vegetable gardening.
Right.
But we have a large selection of ornamentals. It's out front. We've got some beds in the middle. That's what that's showing. And then actually up by the blue barn, the shed.
Right.
We've got another
And
section.
most of those beds have native plants in it, which draw in the pollinators. And we have to have the pollen and things moved around by the insects in order to get the vegetables, the fruit, and the tomatoes. Okay. This, we installed a pavilion. I guess it's been a couple years now. And it's been wonderful because now we have shade out there, and we have a place to have trainings and a place to have meetings and education events. This is a recent education event where Wanda's telling us how to propagate and divide daylilies. And there's always food involved. Master gardeners like to eat. Also out there, we have a fig study going on. And the figs, you can't really see them behind her. This is Andrea, kind of our fig guru. She's got all kinds of different figs, and she's attempting to figure out which one will grow best in northwest Arkansas. And as you know, our weather is always changing here. So last year's crop kind of took a hit because of the early cold, but it's always going something. And this is last year's donation totals. We donated 4,296 pounds to the food pantry, and that was partly from the Helping Hands Garden. And where else do we get the food from, Terry?
So the Helping Hands Garden is definitely the mainstay, the bellwether, if you will. We get 80% at least of our stuff from there. But we've done for probably about 5 years now. We encourage people to bring stuff from their home gardens.
Right.
So, you know, you usually at some period during the year, if you're gardening, have excess vegetables.
Right.
And so people bring in stuff, master gardeners bring it in and drop it off at the pantry. And then last year was the first year we really were serious about the Bella Vista community.
Oh, that's right.
Garden.
Yes.
And we got, I forget what it said on it, I think close to 1,000 pounds
Yes.
from them. So that's another, we're up to 3 sources now, if you will.
Where does the food go from the Bella Vista Garden?
So they take it into the Mercy facility,
Right.
the ground that it's on. And they have where when people come into the building, they've got a little section where they're free to pick up the
Right. There's
the
a shelf, I
produce.
think, with produce and canned goods and
Yeah, there's more.
yeah.
I think they do more than
It
just the
flies
garden
off
stuff.
the shelf.
Yeah,
Literally.
yeah,
So, yeah, very good. Okay, let's see. What else have we got to talk about? We covered the slides. Also some things that go on at the Helping Hands Garden. We have composting.
Yes.
We're always trying that. Do you
Yes.
want to speak to that a little bit?
So we've every year since I've been out there, we do composting. It's been an evolving thing. We weren't very good at it at the beginning, and we've actually moved it a couple times for various reasons. Karen Diamond took it over last year, and actually it had been there was a lady, and her name escapes me. Noreen Poor
right.
had actually for a couple years, she put the current infrastructure in place,
Right.
some bins, and got us off to a good, that was kind of a reset that we needed to do like 3 years ago,
Yeah.
got us off to a good start. And then Karen kind of took it over last year and had time to spend on it, and has finally gotten the majority of the master gardeners to follow some of the ruls that we have.
What kind of compost system is it?
So she has bins, and I say bins, I mean they're wooden bins that we built, and we generally have a couple of them that are receiving the plant material and the things that we put in.
I think she has them labeled open bins,
Open
which you
bins.
can put stuff in.
Right.
And then the closed bins, or the cooking bins, I
Yep.
think she might call them.
Yeah, and then she closes them off. They cook. We've got water nearby. Sometimes they need to be
Right.
watered, and I don't know the exact timing, but after a few weeks, you know, we've got a pretty good amount of compost coming
Right.
out of the beds that have been cooking, and then
Yeah.
it all.
She turns it periodically, and yeah.
And we're always kind of rotating which bins are we receiving material
Right.
in, which beds are cooking, which beds are we ready to start taking stuff out of.
What's the biggest challenge with the compost?
That we have, probably 60 people out in the garden in any one week, and getting everybody kind of on the same page as far as, what things do we want to go in
Right.
there, and which bins, even we can label which bins are the current ones receiving.
Right.
And it's still a struggle.
So what's something that you wouldn't put in the compost bin?
Diseased, any
Okay.
diseased fruit out of the garden,
How about like tree limbs?
we try to keep the big stuff
Yeah,
out
the big
of it.
stuff doesn't belong in
We
there.
try to keep the big stuff out, and we're getting better at it.
Yeah.
But,
I think the one challenge for me when I was doing that
Oh, yeah,
was
did
Bermuda grass.
Bermuda grass.
It just wants to grow in there.
is a challenge.
It'll be the death of us, that
So,
Bermuda grass.
We're at the best place that we've been compost-wise, and with that, I would say we're maybe halfway to where we need to be.
Yeah.
There's always
Something there.
There's always something, and it takes, especially when we've got a lot of people involved, it takes more attention
Right.
than we've found the time to do.
Right.
So,
So how many beds do you think we have out there now?
we're in the high 70. I'm going to say 78,
Yeah.
plus or minus a bed or
Right.
two. And we've gotten, when we first started, a bed was 4 feet by 16 feet, 12 inches high.
Right.
We've gotten creative over the years.
Right.
We've gotten some little round ring metal beds that we put stuff in. We use concrete blocks.
And
on
we
some of them.
recently built a wheelchair accessible bed
Yep.
because we've got members with mobility issues, and
Yeah.
they're thrilled that they don't have to kneel and bend and
Yeah, we got it up.
it's
I
up
don't know.
higher
Yeah, it's
for
probably
them.
30 inches high.
yeah. So that's
and,
been a good
yeah,
improvement, I think.
Works well.
Yes, very good. Okay, I think it's about time to take a break, if that's okay, and then we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Dave Todd, president of Todd Films. We work alongside Bella Vista Community Television to produce some of the content you see aired here. Have you thought about reaching your customers through a television ad? We have several options for you to consider. They range from coming to our studio here, or going to your place of business, or on location. Once you have your commercial, Bella Vista Community Television has several options for you to consider for airing your commercial. Do you have a live event that you would like to capture on video? We also offer live production packages that may be of interest. Please continue to tune in to Bella Vista Community Television. We hope you are enjoying this program. And now back to the show.
Oh, welcome back. Before we move on to other things, Terry, about how many pounds a year are we donating to the pantry?
So we've done, we've had 8 years in the garden now, and our total donations over the 8 years is over 23,000, or almost 23,000
Wow.
pounds. So
That's a lot of food.
I always like to me, tons is impressive. So we're over 11 tons in 8 years.
Yeah.
So we're not quite at 1.5 tons a year, but we're way over 1 ton a year.
What would you say, what crop is grown with the most success to donate to the pantry?
So, and we're doing weights, so that kind of favors some vegetables over the others. And tomatoes is the go-to vegetable. All the people, when you donate it when we give it to the pantry, it's a very popular item for people
Right.
coming in to get the
They
food.
love their tomatoes.
Everybody loves tomatoes.
And peppers, a lot of
Peppers, we do a lot of peppers. We've had years where squash and zucchini were big crops for us. And then we fight like anybody who's grown squash or zucchini in their home gardens. We fight with squash
Squash
bugs.
bugs.
So kind of depends. Some years we're better at controlling those than others. And so we've had years where honestly, I remember a year where I did quite a bit of harvesting where you dreaded going to the beds that had squash in it because you were going to get overwhelmed, you know.
Right.
You were going to pick 50 pounds of
Right.
squash.
Well,
you
and
know.
zucchini starts off teeny tiny, and if somebody doesn't watch it, it seems like within a day it's like this.
Yeah, if you miss the zucchini for a couple days, it's almost not usable.
Right.
I mean, it's
Right.
almost like a baseball bat.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
And then, as we had shown the slide earlier, last year we were over 4,000 pounds.
4,000 pounds
That's the
last
first
year.
time we've done that. So
Yeah.
that's 2 tons of food.
That's a lot of food.
Yeah.
Fresh food,
Yes.
too. Yes.
Yes. Everything that we do our donations to the pantry Monday through Friday, and so the pantry is dispersing food Monday through Friday.
Right.
So we generally get stuff into the pantry by 10 o'clock in the morning, and it goes out that day.
Right. So it's picked, weighed, and then taken right to the pantry.
and then it's in people's homes by that
Mm-hmm.
afternoon. So, you know, that's the definition of fresh vegetables,
Oh,
right?
absolutely,
It's not
absolutely.
like going through the grocery
Right.
store chain where it's trucked in and
Right.
all.
And
So,
we do grow herbs.
grow
Trying to
herbs.
think what else we grow out there.
Potatoes, onions,
Potatoes, yeah.
um,
A little bit of
a
everything.
fair amount of greens,
Right.
kale, and
Right. In the
spinach.
fall and during the winter, we have lots of greens. Yeah. So
We were just getting some cabbage a couple weeks ago. We did a fair amount of cabbage
right,
for the
right.
year. So.
Yeah. But it's too hot now for cabbage.
It's
Yeah.
done.
So tell me what happened in 2020. Something big happened.
So in 2020, so we're Master Gardeners, part of a state organization. Every
Right.
county has a chapter,
Right.
Master Gardeners. We won the state award for the best project for
Right.
Master Gardeners, the Helping Hands Garden.
Right.
And that was, as far as I started in 2016. I think that was our first award that we had gotten as a chapter in a
I think
while.
so too.
And we've kind of beefed up our application
Right.
team, so
Yes.
we've gotten some more awards.
We have a whole team that writes up award nominations.
Yeah, the
Sometimes it's Master Gardener of the Year, Project of the Year. There's
County Agent.
County Agent of the Year, and actually our county agent Ryan Neal
Yep.
won last year.
We got the newsletter.
Oh, and we won the Newsletter of the Year. And this year, Don Castile won the Master Gardener of the Year. And this is competitive through the whole state.
Yeah, 75 counties.
Yeah, so it's a big deal if
Yeah.
you get an award.
And Andrea's been the
And Andrea was
the
Master Gardener
Master
of the
Gardener
Year.
of the
Yes.
So yeah, so we in 2020, and for those I think everybody remembers, but sometimes it gets a little cloudy in your mind. That was the COVID year.
That's
basically.
right. Yes.
And it restricted everybody's activities.
Yes.
The gardening was one of the things that you're outside
In the fresh
You
air. Mm-hmm.
can kind of stay spaced from people.
Right.
And we had great it was great that we had the garden. A lot of people participated
Right.
that year, and we got the award.
Yeah.
And we were providing fresh vegetables
Right.
during a time when people were
And the state-
struggling with a lot of things.
Right. The state agent came out and presented you with
Yeah,
a plaque or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Yeah.
what we got.
Yeah, we
so,
got plaques.
yes.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So, anything else you want to share about Helping Hands before we move on to other things?
No, I think we've hit. We're
biggies?
always doing new things out there. If you one thing that comes to mind that we've just started out there is we've got a beehive now.
That's
We
right.
have honeybees out there now, and best I can tell, that's
So, who
going
takes
really
care
well.
of that?
That's Carly Gorell.
Okay.
I don't know. She has some training.
And she's a member.
She is a member.
Master Gardener.
She is a member. That started this year.
And she's very dedicated. After the tornado happened, she let us all know that she went out there in her pajamas and her slippers to tip the hive back over.
Yeah, it actually had
because
toppled over,
it kind of toppled over, and she was afraid that there would be video camera of her in her pajamas uprighting the hive. But there's no camera right
camera.
there.
And I've been by there. The bees, I think, don't even realize it happened. They're fine. We
Yeah.
ton of bees, so
And
that's cool.
they like it now because things are blooming, and they don't mind the hot weather probably as bad as we do. But yeah, we're very excited to see what
Yes.
comes of our beehives. So let's move on to things that happen in July in Northwest Arkansas. You know that part of June and into July, it's been dry. We really haven't had a ton of rain since that awful weekend in May where the tornado hit. So the key to keeping your plants alive is not what I call the splash and dash method. Okay, you don't just go by with the hose and give them a little water. Okay, if you're lucky enough to have drip irrigation, you may have to even jack that up a little, don't you think, Terry? Because
Yeah.
it's been so hot.
Yeah.
Plants do best if you give them deep watering, not just a little of this and that. They also, plants in pots that are out in the sun probably need to be watered every day, maybe even twice a day, because it's brutal out there for plants right now. Other things you need to think about is as your flowers die back, a lot of them, if you deadhead them, which is kind of an awful term to use, if you clip off the dead flowers, a lot of times you will get a flush of new flowers. Okay? It's actually good for the plant to clip off those dead plants. As far as your perennials, you want to pinch back your mums right now, otherwise they're going to bloom too early, and then come fall, you're not going to have any blossoms. So it's actually okay to cut those back a little bit. Plants like daisies and coneflowers and other flowering plants, like I said, benefit from deadheading. Just take your clippers and clip off the ones that are dead. You can save those flower heads for seeds for next year, sprinkle them on the ground or save them and plant them. Also birds, finches and a lot of other birds love dead flowers because in there are those seeds and that's what they go after. As far as your lawn needs more water too, okay? Lots more water. I don't know if, I don't have Bermuda grass, but I think it's probably struggling right now in a lot of yards because it's so hot. You can water your Bermuda grass to keep it alive, or you can just wait till it rains and it will come back, okay? Other lawns may need more water. And a good thing in the hot summer is not, if you're gonna mow your grass, raise the blade on your mower a little bit so you're not scalping it down to the dirt. By leaving the grass a little bit longer, it actually protects the soil and it won't go brown as fast. So, do you do that with your lawn? Or do you mow?
I don't do any watering. I let it.
It does what it does.
I let it go dormant, if you will,
Right.
or whatever.
So
it's probably not the best looking lawn.
I remember in 2011 when I moved here, you were in the middle of a drought, and I was in a rental house at the time. I was watering the Bermuda, and because I didn't know, you just water the grass. The lady from the water company showed up the door, knock, knock, knock. Do you have a leak? We've noticed your usage has gone way up. And I said, well, I don't think so. Well, then I realized I was watering the grass so much they were concerned I had a leak.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Bermuda, it will survive anything. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. As far as your roses, watch for aphids and fungus. If you overhead water your roses, then you're asking for trouble with the fungus. Okay? Plants like to be watered at root level. Okay? Not a sprinkler going all over the yard. Okay? The water needs to get down to the roots. And I noticed in the last week the Japanese beetles and the June bugs are here. They don't seem to be as bad in my yard as they have been. We prefer not to use a lot of insecticides. There are Japanese beetle traps you can get. The thing about the traps is that there's something in them that attracts the Japanese beetles and then they fall in this little bag. If you put the trap in your garden, you're inviting the whole neighborhood of Japanese beetles to come to your garden. So put it outside your garden, maybe on the property line. Some people even say put it in your neighbor's yard and not tell them. I'm not promoting that. But to keep them out of your garden, put it on the perimeter away from your garden. They will find it and you'll see the bag of dead beetles, it just fills up within days. Do you ever use those?
I've not at home. We've
Yeah.
had them out at
They do work.
had them out at the garden.
Yeah, they do work.
So
And my theory is one less Japanese beetle on the face of the earth is a good thing. So I use those if they're bad. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Trees and shrubs. If you planted trees and shrubs this spring, you've got to water them all through the summer into the fall because they're trying to set roots down. And don't do the splash and dash. You know, let the hose run slowly for a while, for a long while, and let them, because they really need the water, especially when it's hot. A little bit on harvesting. Oh, when's a good time to pick a tomato?
you're talking in the cycle of the tomato?
Yeah, what color?
Yeah.
If it's a typical red tomato, when's a good time to pick
As
it?
soon as it's got color, as soon as it's turned.
Right.
It's got color
Some
to
people call them breaking. They're breaking.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they will go ahead and ripen
right.
once they're picked. Once
Yeah.
they've started ripening, you're good to go.
You're
and
good to
it's-
go.
it
What
gives-
happens if you wait? What are the risks if you wait?
What happens at the Helping Hands garden is potentially you get bugs, birds. We have birds out
Yeah.
there. Birds will attack them. And then eventually the tomato will fall to the ground, you know. So,
Right.
so we try to have somebody go through the garden daily once it gets, you know, into June
Right.
type thing, because literally within 2 days there can be a huge difference.
Right.
So we try to get them all picked before
Before the
they're-
prime color.
before they've really turned red and get
Right.
them turned in.
Yeah.
Because we still, even with that, we still lose,
Yeah.
I don't know, 5 or 10%.
Some
of our
fall
tomatoes
off and rot. The
because
bugs
we just
get
don't get
'em.
them soon
Right.
enough.
Yeah. So don't wait too long picking your tomatoes.
Set them on the counter for a couple of
Right.
days.
Right. Or some people say put them on the top of the refrigerator where it's warm. That's a good place. Okay. Let's see. More just about watering. Remember, overhead watering, not a good thing. Okay. Water down near the roots. Oh, and water in the morning.
Yeah.
Why is that a good time?
It gives any water that you've gotten on the leaves or whatever, it will evaporate. Gives it time to get into the plants get the water in the heat of the day.
Right.
Like at night, you're
What are the risks?
you're going to
of-
get
yeah.
more fungus and things like that because it's overnight. The water stays on the leaves and it's not being used as quickly. So
Right.
morning's definitely
Morning's the
preferred
best time. Yeah, I'm guilty of watering at night, but
It's
I try.
better than not watering
right.
at all.
But if you water low down there to the roots, it's okay. Yeah, because sometimes it's cooler in the evening. Although if you get out of bed early enough, you can get
There
out
you
there and
go.
water early. Yes. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about our Master Gardener meetings. We have one. We just had one last night, but we're having another one August 6th at 5:30 is the social time, and 6 o'clock is the meeting. We always have a speaker. Oh. Okay. So next month, we're not sure who our speaker is yet. We're kind of checking it out. Last night's speaker was on the Diana fritillary butterfly, which was very interesting. Okay. Just some reminders, if you're looking for garden information, you can go to our website, which is bentoncountymastergardeners.com/home. There's information there. And another great site is the university site, which is www, I think it's on the screen, uaex.uada.edu. And you can search tomatoes and you will get a list of all kinds of information, or beans, or anything. It's set up for home gardeners, so there's lots of information there. So Terry, anything you want to add?
I'm good for
Did we
today.
cover things? Okay.
We covered a lot.
Okay, I'll leave you with my favorite garden quote by Cicero. It is, if you have a garden and a library, you have everything you need. So thank you for joining us today, and please come out to Helping Hands and see us. There's always someone there. Okay.